Hey everybody, welcome back. We're in the shop today because it's snowing out. But before the snow came, you could see I got the just the very basic base of our trailer that we're building made. I got all the cross members tacked in. I got the I-beams cut, and we're getting snowed on today, so we're not working on that. But we'll get back on that soon. And we've got the submarine that I've been working on, just about finished up as far as the parts that I'm doing on it. Doing all the aluminum welding and stuff. We've got the front dive planes on there, and there's a few of the aluminum pieces I made. And there's some of the aluminum welding. Pedal assemblies in, everything's there. It's just got to go back, and the students are going to work on it a little bit, and then it's going to get painted, and then we'll start testing it in the pool. So that's coming along pretty good. CJ3A project's going along pretty smooth. I was making some panels for the 3A. It needs that wheelhouse. I was just making some panels while the weather was bad before I could sandblast. And remember that wheelhouse is all wrinkled up, and I took a pretty bad cut to the hand, so I'm not hammering away on panels. My hand's a little sore still. It's a pretty deep cut on the top of my hand, so taking it easy on the hand today. But the 3A project's coming along. I'm prepping up some of the engine parts and painting those and getting those all ready to go for when the engine comes back. That's out at the machine shop now. So when it comes back, I'll have everything prepped. Okay, we're jumping around a little bit today, but here's some stake pockets I made that are going on that trailer. You know, you can buy these, but they're a little bit thinner than I like. I got some 1/4 inch material here. Cut everything kind of carefully. And I think you can see over there. And then I just bent them in the press brake. So, I don't know if I'll use them all. I bent up like, I don't know, 32 or 34 of them. That's all the material I had. So, those are ready to go on the trailer once it stops snowing and cold weather gets out of here. But we're just jumping around, showing you what's going on. And I'll take you over and show you another project that we're just doing little bits and pieces on right now. Okay everybody, I think you remember a while ago I told you we were going to have a Toyota FJ40 project in here, and we're doing little bits and pieces on that right now. I've got the whole chassis here. I've got the the V8 engine we're putting in there. We're putting that VT300i aluminum block. It was a Toyota Lexus Marine engine. We're putting that in this FJ40. And what you're looking at here is a H55F 5-speed. And a transfer case there. So that's a nice heavy gearbox we're going to put in there. And I opened it up. Looks real good inside. So we're just going to go with that. And mating this up to that engine is a little tricky. But I'll show you, how we came about getting a bell housing for that. Okay, here's our first, I guess you could call it a mock-up bell housing. This is the bell housing off the engine, and I had an outdrive on it because of a marine engine. But this was the bell housing off the engine. And this side is the one off the 55 transmission there. And then what we did, we just kind of it's aluminum, so I TIG welded everything together, and we used it for a mock-up, making measurements and stuff, getting the input, getting the height of it right so the input shaft works out nice, and getting a clutch figured out, doing a whole bunch of stuff there. Now I'm doing this with a friend of mine, and he has a whole bunch of those marine engines, brand new, and there have been a bunch of guys that are interested in putting one in their FJ, you know, keeping it all Toyota. And we're trying to come out with a basically everything you're going to need to put one of those in your FJ and take the pain and suffering out of it, you know what I mean? So the bell housing, we got all the information we needed off of that one. And here's what we got now. This is a steel bell housing that we're making. And I'm going to get it welded up today. But we got 1/2-inch flanges. These were plasma cut out, and the holes were perfectly drilled in there. And then we had to do this first ring here to fit the flywheel and the clutch in there. So, kind of a bear. But this is going to be where your flywheel and clutch are hiding, right in here. So we need to make that big, and then we reduced it. And we kept all our center lines right, and got all our dowel locations right, and everything was figured out perfectly. And there's the back side. And I got it with some MIG welds on it from my buddy there who did all the rolling and plasma cutting. And what we did was we ground those out right in here, you can see. And we got all the mill scale off we're going to weld. What I'm doing right now is putting a TIG pass in there. You can see it right there. And we're going to try and get some full penetration there. And then we'll come over maybe with another pass. But we're just going to try and get it welded up. And we're going to jump around, keep it nice and keep the heat out of it, and so it doesn't move too much. After I get it welded, we're going to take it back and take a cut off and true everything up on the milling machine, make sure everything's perfectly flat again. So that's coming. But it's been quite a project getting a bell housing made for this, but this one fits, and we've got all our dimensions right, so we're happy with that. I've still got to cut the hole for the fork and put the pivot in, but I'm going to get it welded up first. And I think you can see right in there on the back side of that weld, we're getting some good penetration through there. So I'll set up the camera, see if I can get some arc shots. But that's the first step to the engine installation, is getting that bell housing worked out. And we've got that real good, so I'm going to weld it up, and we'll take it from there. Okay guys, there's one of the finished little kind of tacks we're putting in there to get this put together. I'm using my Dynasty DX200 TIG machine, and I've got it maxed out at 200. We're not using full pedal, but I've got it maxed out. I'm using a 3/32 tungsten, and I'm putting a 1/16 filler rod in there. And we're just going to burn in a nice hot root pass, make sure we get some penetration through there, and then we could figure out what we're going to come over for a cover pass over that. But we've got a whole bunch of welding to do on this, and I'll see if I can get you arc shots every now and again. But I'm going to get busy jumping around from side to side, top to bottom, getting this fully welded out, and I'll show you along the way how it's coming. Okay, everybody, we're continuing on putting that TIG root pass in there, and you can see when we have no gap or anything, it's pretty nice. It lays in there nice. And then when you get a gap or something, it gets a little uglier, but we still get it in there. We're trying to get 100% penetration. We're trying to get some build up on the inside for reinforcement, and it's going pretty good. It's laying in there nice. It's nice putting a TIG root in there because you could watch it go in. You could keyhole it the whole way around there. And I think if we sneak in there, you can see we're building up very nice on the inside. And the only place we didn't punch through is where there was a previous MIG weld. But we'll go in there on the inside and get that all welded out. So it's coming out pretty nice. You can see over here we had to fill a hole, and then it gets back into a nice bead. And we've had some holes over there, but nothing too terrible. It's laying in there pretty nice. We're watching it go in, and it's coming out very nice. Now while the piece is at its warmest, we're not overheating the piece or anything, but while it's got some residual heat in there, we're going to come in here and we're going to lay a fillet weld right in there. And you can see those couple little MIG welds in there, and we don't want to come in here with a MIG gun or something like that because we just won't have space around the holes. So that little hole right there is for the starter. The starter comes from inside the engine, and we'll put a little cap on that. We'll weld something in, blend it in nice, make it look nice. But we don't have a lot of room around those holes. So we got that thick 1/2-inch plate that we want to burn into. So like I say, while we got some residual heat in this piece, we're going to go at it and put that that bottom fillet in there, and we're going to make it so we can come around these holes, and everything will work out. We won't have any interference there. So that's why we're going to run a small TIG weld instead of just, you know, running a MIG in there. And as you saw there on the rest of it, you don't always punch through real nice with a MIG gun, and we want the 100% penetration. That's why we're running that TIG root again. But we're going to lay that in now, and I'll come back and show you what it looks like. Okay, we got a nice weld from our 1/2-inch flange to our I believe that's 3/16 plate, and we left plenty of room for the bolts to go in, and it laid in there pretty nice. You can see places like that. That's where we remelted that MIG weld that was on there from when it came to us, and then we just continued along, and it was easy biting into that 1/2-inch plate, like I said, because we had some residual heat in there, so the bench didn't suck all the heat right out of it, and that laid in there perfect. And let me flip it over and we'll take a look at the inside. Okay, you can see we got a little bit of penetration there where there was a gap, and you can see we've got a little lip, and I think we're just gonna, from the inside there, we're just gonna melt that lip right into the 1/2-inch flange, and I think that'll look all right, and it'll give it the strength we're after, because we couldn't punch right through there with the TIG. We had no gap or anything, so where it did have a gap, we were able to get through pretty nice. But let me get everything melted in there, and I'll be back and show you what the finished product looks like. Okay, everybody, there we have the inside of the bell housing. I'll give you a shot of it. And we ran a TIG bead around there because we didn't get 100% penetration from the other side, so we ran a bead there. We had a little bit of the plate here sticking above the flange, so we just ran a bead with that, melted that right into the flange, and kept everything, we didn't overheat anything, and left everything in good shape. Like I said, we're going to take a cut on this after it's all finished anyway, but everything came out pretty nice, and the TIG root is in, inside and outside. So the next thing we'll do is we'll let it cool for now. And then in areas like this here, we're gonna run a bead in areas like this, and then we'll blend all that over nice and make it look nice and rounded. But I'm gonna let it cool now, and then we'll set up maybe with some old 45 wire in the wire feeder. We'll turn on the Miller Trailblazer there and run the wire feeder and put a nice MIG bead in there, something that will bite into that root pass, and then give us enough material so we can round it around real nice. And down in this area here, we're not going to put anything. Like I say, we want room for the bolts, so that's finished down there. And I don't think you can see that bead there. I'm going to leave that bead as is. We'll blend. We'll dress over everything with a soft wheel, get everything blended in real nice. And we've got to put that starter. I got to cut back in this area a little bit so the Bendix could come out and engage the flywheel, and we'll make a nice cover for that and get that welded in. And that's basically what it looks like. And like I say, it's going to that H55F transmission. And it's snowing out, but I think maybe we could take a walk out and take a look and see what the engine's going to be like. Okay, everybody, I've got this this project. It's not in the shop yet. It's just in a little storage area I have. Here is the engine that's going in the chassis. This is an FJ40. This is the 300 horsepower marine engine, and a lot of the marine stuff's coming off. You know, we'll pull these exhaust manifolds off, the raw water pump, all that stuff. We're building headers for it, and it's brand new. And like I said, a friend of mine has a bunch of these engines, so anybody looking to put a conversion in their FJ40 and don't want to use the standard, you know, Chevy 350, you want to keep everything Toyota, this is a good way to go. And we've got to make a few modifications to the engine, you know, maybe relocate the oil filter and do a few modifications, but nothing too bad. And there's all our exhaust kit there, and you can see on the chassis I've got the kit in to put a steering box out front there. That makes it a lot nicer, and boxed in the other frame rail right there. So that's what's going in here, and I'll show you how we work out the engine mounts and get the motor placed in there and hook the transmission up. Got to make some drive shafts, see if we can sneak the exhaust out the back. There's a lot to do, but just thought I'd introduce you to the project. We just got some axles in there to roll it around. Those aren't the axles that are going in. And I believe we have everything worked out now. Flywheel, clutch, bell housing. So that takes all the guesswork out of that. We just got to see if everything works out when we finally hook it up and set it in the chassis. So I'm not 100% on this full time yet, but I'll bring you a video when I can, show you what I'm doing and how things are going. And if you like the video, hit the like button, subscribe, tell a friend, spread the word around. Like I say, we're trying to make the channel better all the time. So if there's anything you'd like to see, let me know and I'll try and get it out there. We're covering a lot of ground on a lot of projects, and hope you guys are enjoying it. But if there's anything in particular you want to see, just let me know, and I'll try and make a video for you. Okay, we will catch you next time on the next video. Thanks for watching.